Hello everyone. Welcome to a new interview regarding the top 20 performing CEOs in the MENA region. As a reminder, this competition was launched by Unlock to celebrate the brightest minds in the blockchain and crypto sector in the MENA region. It is my pleasure to introduce today Mr. Waqas, a visionary entrepreneur who is making waves in the real estate industry with his revolutionary ideas. With a dedication to bridging the gap between Web3 and real estate, Mr. Waqas is integrating blockchain technology into the sector to create a seamless metaverse experience on a single platform. As the founder of Aqarchain, Mr. Waqas is taking an innovative approach to real estate asset tokenization, making it accessible for everyone to invest in real estate properties as easily as investing in stocks. By minting real estate NFTs and fractionalizing them, Aqarchain is creating a decentralized ecosystem that removes traditional barriers to real estate investing. Thanks for being with us, Mr. Waqas. It's our pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for inviting. And it's been a pleasure to be on call with you.
Same here. So to start with, can you just tell us firstly what inspired you to create Aqarchain and what really sets Aqarchain apart from other real estate blockchain projects in the market?
So to give you a brief uh, introduction on how the idea or the thought actually came into being was that it was from a personal experience that when we look at real estate investment opportunities, you generally don't get best deals as a retail investor. And these early opportunities really don't come by your place. And secondly, uh, you have to, as a normal middle class working person, you actually have to look at multiple financing opportunities, multiple financing options, and deals that are good with payment plans to actually get a real sizable real estate for your use. And mostly in the middle income sector, we are always looking for real estate for our own use and not for investment. So the idea was that why we should not have the opportunity of investment as similar to other HNIs and institutional investors. So that the idea was that whether if we can even get a small piece of pie uh, instead of buying the whole cake itself. So that was the whole idea. And then implementing blockchain was basically the icing on the cake that you're able to basically create transparent and immutable transactions and bring a more trustless ecosystem into the place.
So
So that's how
basically, this is
basically,
this is why you decided to include blockchain technology in your project.
yes, yes. So that's how basically the whole idea of Aqarchain started, and then why we thought about blockchain. And plus, at the same time, uh, there were not many players, people who are actually looking to integrate real adoption of blockchain into real estate. And that was the main concept and the main idea to actually go ahead with this.
Okay, and like, how do you ensure the security and transparency of transactions on a card chain? Is there like a certain process you go through just to make sure everything is legit? Um,
Yes, so basically, if you look at the entire process, it's basically a crowdfunding model. So you don't buy the asset till the initial commitment of all parties or all investors or shareholders is there to buy the property. So that's one kind of security that the asset does not come into your control till the time everyone has accepted to pay for their share of
yes.
property. And secondly, because the whole transaction, I mean, not the whole buying transaction, but the entire tokenization process happens on blockchain itself. It is because it is completely secure is because you have every bit of transaction record stored on the blockchain, and all the agreements are actually timestamped and signed on the blockchain itself. So you are basically not signing or not doing any transaction which is off the chain and which is nothing that is of any kind of malpractice or anything of that sort. So it's completely immutable, it's completely transparent, and it's secured in that manner.
Yes, it makes sense. And if someone like, can you tell us like what is the process for listing a property on Aqarchain, and how do you determine the minimum share that can be purchased? How does the process go? How is it?
So
How is the listing process? How does it go?
S- So right now we are not open for a marketplace listing where anyone can open list a property for tokenization, because there's a lot of regulatory requirements. There's a lot of compliance issues that we need to adhere to before we can actually have a proper marketplace. I think we're still very new in that sense, or rather, the technology itself is very new to go up to that stage. It'll be another 2 3 years before we can actually have a full-fledged real estate model where people can put their properties and tokenize it themselves. So what we do is we actually look for properties which are investor friendly. We look for properties which can actually give returns to the investors, because right now it is more about returns on investors rather than tokenizing my own property. So the whole idea right now is more focused on the buyer side than the seller side. So once the industry grows in itself and evolves into a whole ecosystem, then obviously, just like buyers coming on board, you'll have sellers also coming on board, and uh, public listing of properties will be available on the platform. And the part of tokenization, how what we do is that most people are actually this is a very distinguishing factor between us and other players, is that people are actually tokenizing the SPVs or the companies which are holding the asset. And what we are also doing is that, in a nutshell, yes, you're doing that, but the measure of a real estate is basically on its area. So that's how you define and how you measure real estate. Even if you have to take a property valuation, you don't value the property just because that's in this area. It's this much value, but it's actually valued on square meter or square feet. That this much square feet, or that's this much area of metric of land will cost this much. So that's exactly what we do. We divide the property into area, which is either square feet or square meter, depending on the number of tokens that a property would we would want to create a number of tokens on, and each square feet becomes one token or one share of the property.
Yes. I mean, it's really interesting because, with the investing in real estate, it comes with the hassle, especially when it comes to all the legal stuff. And plus, integrating blockchain technology in it obviously makes it more secure and transparent. So this is really interesting. That the project is really cool. And we know that Akar has been working on a really cool project too, and it's the Akar land. So can you please tell us a bit more about it? What are the opportunities that it offers to investors? And the floor is yours.
So, Aqarchain, actually, it's a very futuristic idea. It's a very futuristic plan. We're still in its very nascent inception stages. The idea is actually to have a digital twin of your particular property in the metaverse. So, we are right now seeing a lot of talk and lot of hype in terms of the activities happening in the metaverse. So, but we're still very, very new in terms of adoption. So there's a long way to go before you see a long adoption in terms of complete cycle usage of the metaverse properties. But yes, we're looking at maybe gamifying, creating a gamified approach on it, or maybe using these land parcels and tying up with some gaming companies, or creating a game in itself as well, so that these land metaverse virtual lands can be utilized in some kind of exploration games or land games, or uh, any kind of virtual environment games, basically.
Yes. Yeah, so we shouldn't be expecting the completion of the project anytime soon.
We're looking at maybe in the next by the end of this year to actually have the entire metaverse ready. So hopefully that will be the first glimpse of the whole metaverse.
Well, we hope so, and we'll be waiting for the updates. But it is really a super nice project, and we've seen how the metaverse will be changing the world in a way. It's making things so much easier, and there's a lot of utilities that we can actually use it for. So that's really nice. This leads to my next question, which is, as everyone knows, fractional ownership is tricky as the space is evolving by the day and the regulations are still not fully set. So, what can you tell us about fractional ownership? How can fractional ownership be applied in the real estate industry? And basically, what are the benefits of using blockchain to facilitate this?
So fractional ownership has been actually has been with us since ages. Okay, we've been fractional. I mean, since ages. You know, the concept or the idea of fractional ownership has always been there. Now, people have actually bought apartments or properties, or retail or commercial properties with family members, with friends, pooled money together and bought it. So that's basically what fractional ownership is. But no one has actually bought a property with someone that they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what blockchain actually enables you to do. You know, today you're able to buy a property in fractional ownership with 100 different people whom you've never met and whom you don't know. And yet they are your partners in that particular property. So that's what the technology has actually allowed you to do. But in prehistoric ages and previous times, even companies and individuals have basically pooled money or formed partnerships to basically buy property. Now, what happens is when you get into a kind of a consortium or a group together, uh, you have to deal with indifferences. You have to deal with uh, difference of opinions and
Love that.
different things on that. So these things you generally lead to some kind of problems or some kind of indifferences in terms of the entire ownership structure also. What blockchain allows you is that, if you particularly don't want that share, you're free to sell your share. You're free to move that particular asset out. That, that maybe if I was in a partnership with my brother and if he didn't wanted to sell the property, I couldn't sell it.
Yes.
So, but if it was tokenized, I would be able to sell whatever I want to sell. Maybe if I would sell part of my share, or maybe I would buy more uh, what is available from him. So, there are multiple options, multiple things. And one thing, importantly, this allows is that, this actually gives you a better management of inheritance as well. So people who can divide their wealth, they can distribute it in a proper manner. So tokenization itself is basically a very, very, very promising idea in terms of not only just to have an investment sector, but also to manage your assets and manage your wealth as well.
I totally agree because at the end of the day, it's one's money and their investment, you know. And when it comes to real estate,
True.
it's just so hard to just like share an investment with someone you don't really trust. So I do agree that the technology and the project as a whole can really, really come in handy and like save people from lots of hassle. So
Sure.
yes, I totally agree. I actually have a question. How do you ensure that fractional ownership shares are tradable on the blockchain, and what measures do you take to prevent fraud and ensure compliance with the regulatory requirements? I know we talked about it a bit before, but
Mhm.
I also want to know, that obviously there's fluctuating in prices when it comes to real estate. So how do you manage the valuation and pricing of fractional ownership shares, particularly in a market where real estate prices are always fluctuating? So,
Mm. So, see, we have to understand one thing, that real estate is a very highly regulated industry. Irrespective of being blockchain, crypto, or any technology agnostic, real estate itself is a very highly regulated industry. And it's one of the most favored investment mechanisms for since ages. So you're dealing with a very, very composite structure over here, where you are having a very highly regulated industry, and then at the same time you're in a very, very you're using a very new technology which is still not very regulated by most of the regulatory authorities. So the idea here is to actually create an ecosystem where it's easily, seamlessly being transacted, and the allocation of shares is particularly on the blockchain. But if you see that real estate prices, they move, but they don't move with a lot of volatility. So the price movement in real estate happens over a period of time. So what we do in our ecosystem is that every 6 months, this also depends on the area, because some areas are very fast moving in terms of development. So which are like, very prominently developing areas. That's where the price movement is very fast, because you buy something today and tomorrow you feel that, it's already appreciating in value. The asset is increasing. So in those type of areas, you can have a valuation of the property every 3 months, every quarter, or every 6 months. But generally, for a real estate asset to appreciate in value, you have to give it about a year or a couple of years before you can actually see a value appreciation happening in terms of the asset. So we generally keep doing the valuation of the property. So because that is where the price of the token is also derived from, which
Which
is
is
the actual
definitely
valuation of the property.
necessary. It's
So
necessary.
you do periodic valuations. That's where you're able to define the token value and the asset value for every shareholder.
All right, thank you for the insight. It's very helpful. Um, uh, I have another question. How do you plan to expand the reach of Aqar to a wider audience, and any partnerships or collaborations that might be helpful to the platform that you would like to tell us about?
So yes, we've been very silent for the past year almost,
Yes.
especially after the big downfall of the whole crypto in the markets. So we've been pretty much silent, and during this time, we've been actually developing and building the whole ecosystem in itself and the platform in itself, where we've now managed to actually build a seamless Web3 transaction that is very easy. As easy, I can say that, it's as easy as buying something on Amazon.
Yes.
That's something that, we're trying to we have created overall. And over this period of time. So, in terms of partnerships, we are partnering with a few developers within the GCC region. We're also looking at some properties across the globe in Asia and European sectors as well. So there are a few things. So majorly, you will see a lot of updates coming for us during this summer.
All
This
right.
summer is going to be where we are going to be relaunching our and basically creating a new mobile application, launching a new mobile application, and at the same time also launching a revised version of our whole ecosystem platform with a lot of partnerships being revealed. So this summer is going to be a really big one for us.
We'll be waiting impatiently, and there is no doubt that Aqarchain is doing its best, and there's no doubt that it will achieve its goals and make real estate accessible to everyone in a transparent and easy way, just like we
Yes.
said. All right, that's it from my side. Thank you so much for being here with us today.